Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dork Entertainment. We've got a very special video for you today. We're going to be reviewing The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt. I've got Sumit here on the line, David and Daniel as well. How are you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Yes, very good.
Good, how are you?
Good. So, The Tomorrow War, we've all seen it. We've all got differing views on this movie, I believe. I feel like the internet is quite split on whether it's a good movie or not. So we're going to be discussing, The Tomorrow War. So right off the bat, we'll just start with our scores. We'll give a rating for the movie, what we thought, this movie was, and we'll go around the grounds. I'll start with Sumit. What did you think, Sumit?
Yeah, so I watched it a couple of days ago, and sort of let it sit in my mind a bit. And I thought I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I thought it was not the greatest in terms of like the execution of what they were trying to do. I think the idea is good, but I just think they didn't execute it as well as they could, and there's a reason why it's an Amazon movie, basically, is what I'm going to say. yeah.
Shots fired.
All right.
So 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10 from Sumit. Daniel, what did you think?
6 out of 10. Like Sumit said, just to piggyback what he said, good concept, and it had a really decent story, but the execution wasn't. It's there. Chris Pratt, we all know he's an amazing actor, and I feel like he really did carry this movie. And the cast as well, they were also great. So I think for me personally, I'd give it 5.5 out of 10. Just some things that weren't. I don't know. I was expecting more from them.
All right, fair enough. David, what did you think?
I would give it a 4 out of 10. It had it had an interesting, the trailer made it look really interesting, and the story idea is interesting. I agree with you guys, but to be honest, I was on my phone half the time, and it was just I don't know. It just didn't capture my attention. The one cool thing was alien design. I gotta say that was a cool design, but besides that, it wasn't. Like Sumit said, it's you can tell why it's an Amazon movie.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Look, I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a good movie. It was a good Friday night watch. Stay at home sort of movie. I felt like the design of the aliens were really good. The story is good as well. Time travel is not an easy thing to talk about, but I feel like they did enough to sort of explain a few things, in a way that is, you could sort of say, okay, that's a good reason why certain things can happen in time travel, certain things can't happen. 7 out of 10, just because there are of course some flaws in this movie. CGI is 70% of the time it's good. There's a few parts that are a bit unfinished that make it look like, okay, it's a TV movie or a streaming movie, but it's better than your average streaming movie. I found, so that's why it's a 7 out of 10 for me. We're going to discuss a little bit more in depth as well. But so that's pretty much the scores we've got, for The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. But from this point onwards, we're going to be talking spoilers. So there will be this is a spoiler discussion, so there will be spoilers from this point onwards. So if you haven't seen the movie, switch it off now and then come back to this point in the review and watch on. So yes, we'll go watch another Dork review as well. But spoiler warning. Dun, 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 spoiler warning. All right, okay. Look, first thing I wanted to talk about with you guys, it is quite a CG heavy movie.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the graphics, the CGI in this. I thought the alien design was good because it's a different design, and it's something we haven't seen before. I thought it was pretty good. They were pretty quick, and they weren't easy to kill either. The aliens. So I thought that was something different. Sometimes, usually, they're just shooting, and then the aliens just there's splattering everywhere. But these were a bit harder to kill in this movie. What did you guys think?
Yeah, well,
Me?
I thought, the design's good. It was interesting how, as you said, like they've got weak points and you've got to shoot them in certain points, and all that, and the fact that they're like very quick and they're basically kind of like dogs in a way, like alien dogs. But it's I thought they were okay. I'll just maybe the Queen alien be a bit more distinct from the other ones would have been better, but I mean it does look slightly different, the Queen alien, but it's interesting. What do you guys think, Daniel?
Yeah, pretty much same thing. Like the designs were interesting. How to kill them as well. Like you have to either shoot them, I think, in the neck or the mouth, I think it was. And neck and abdomen, sorry. And even though you see them aiming for that area, you still see like the aliens are smart. Like they're actually like covering themselves, covering their weak points. It was. I don't know, the alien designs were interesting, but like Samit said, the female could have the female design. It could have been a little more.
It's a bit of a like query whether it's a queen alien or it's just the female one, and there's a few of the female aliens. Another interesting aspect was the spikes. They shoot from
that was cool.
their tentacles. They shoot spike bullet type things as their weapon.
Yeah,
so that was
spikes,
pretty cool. But what did you think, David?
CGI I thought was pretty good for an Amazon movie, to be honest. Alien design was cool. The movie actually majority of the time, the movie looked pretty good. There was definitely some scenes where they were like, oh, this is where they cut the budget. This is where the budget was thinged a little bit. But yeah, overall, it was a pretty good looking movie. Unless you're looking for it, then you can't really tell. Yeah.
We just remember, just pausing for a second there, that I don't think this was produced by Amazon. Is that right?
No, at the end it said Paramount.
Yeah, it was a Paramount movie, which was meant to be released in theaters.
It's a Paramount movie. Yeah, and then bought by Amazon.
Bought by, that's what Netflix is on. You just buy the rights to the movie.
But usually that usually happens when, I guess, a studio doesn't have confidence in a movie. And I think this was one of those movies where the studio didn't really have as much confidence as they would in the other movies, like A Quiet Place, which is a Paramount movie as well. I just think that maybe they just wanted to cut their losses, and I think one way to do that is go to Amazon, who are spending big bucks on content at the moment. So
that's true.
I also felt like. You were talking about, how studios don't have confidence. I think also because of COVID times as well, they have to sort of think whether this movie is worth spending time on and money on putting it in the theaters, and whether it's going to get the return for them, or whether they can just make a quick buck by selling it to Amazon. So that's obviously what they've done here. So one aspect I wanted to talk about was the time travel aspect, which is a big part of this movie. I thought it was good. I thought that so this is in spoiler discussions here. So basically, you go through a criteria to get selected to time travel forward 30 years to the war which they are fighting, and that is that you're dead in the future. Yes. So you've died before that time point. And I thought that was a really good explanation, because there's always that question of whether you go forward or back in time. If you meet your past or future self, that could stuff up the timeline or whatever you do, right? They've eliminated that by saying that you have to be dead to travel into the future. And even the people who traveled back 30 years, they weren't even born in the time that they've traveled back to. So I thought that was pretty good. What did you guys think about that, David?
Definitely interesting concept. I thought it was a bit they took it a little bit from Terminator. I don't know why, I just got those vibes from it. But one thing was, so they went to the future, and bringing the vial back, shouldn't that kind of have changed the future already, if they had already created the vial and brought it back? Or is that getting too much into the science part of it?
No, I think actually the way that, from what I heard, how it worked was, there's 2 points in the timeline. That's the only 2 points they can go back and forth between, right? And like those 2 points, like one would stay, like they'll both stay stagnant. Those 2 points, right? So they'd always move like that basically throughout timeline. So it's like he was saying it's like a boat that's sort of a raft that goes between both of them. You can only go between those 2 points, which is I think a time period of like 30 years or something like that. So I think because of that, when they bring it back, obviously because that hasn't been done yet, so they can't really, like with the vial, when they bring the vial back, like that's the new timeline that they're creating there. You can't go forward in that.
Oh, shows that I wasn't paying attention then.
You're on your phone, yes.
And I guess when he does come back with the vial, nothing's really changed, right? Except for when they find out about how the aliens have actually been there for a long time, for about 1,000 years already.
Yeah.
More than 1,000 years.
Yeah. So when I was watching it, I was a bit scared that because when they bring the vial back and then they go into the mothership and they're injecting all the egg aliens, whatever, with the vial, but then
the pods,
some of them escape. I was like, oh, that was nearly going to make the vial, that whole story of getting that vial, useless, because they'd inject them and then there's like still thousands left. They can't inject every single one of them. But then.
Yeah, I feel like these were the queens, right? These were the breeding
but then
ones.
They sort of made up for that fact when he uses the vial at the end, when he kills the mother alien. But it was so close to just being useless. I thought that story arc.
I thought that end scene was extended quite over the top a bit, and the way it ends, it is really over the top. Where he tackles the alien, like it really gets to the point.
He's like punching it.
The dad
and
cuts
stuff.
his hand, and he's like drawing the alien. I was like,
he's like,
this
I
is
love
too
you,
far.
That's enough. But look, dialogue and writing really held it back.
I
can see why Chris Pratt would sign on to this film, like someone as big as Chris Pratt, sign on to this film based on the concept. But I just think the directing and the dialogue, the writing, really did let it down a lot. Yeah.
The concept was really cool. I really liked how the aliens were there and they found the ship under the ice.
The concept, in this age of
like
sequels and movies based on comic book properties and all that, it's an original concept. Yes, it is kind of a little bit like Terminator with the time travel stuff, but I like the twist that they put on it, and the fact that they bring back Val. Like, it's a good story. I just thought it's not well executed.
The execution.
An example of this is when throughout that whole first act, it's just action, 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 and even when his daughter gets introduced. When he's in the future and they introduce the daughter, there's not really any emotional attachment. Feels like there's no scene, and then out of nowhere, when they're on the beach, is when they have a scene where she's showing emotions, and it just felt very disjointed. Like there's nothing leading up to that. That would sort of think that she would act like that, and boom, out of nowhere, she's just acting like that. Like it's just, I don't know. It's not written well. I just don't think it's written well.
I don't know. I probably disagree with you a bit there, to me. That's the next point I was going to, this topic I wanted to discuss is the relationships in this movie, which is also a mainstay of this movie. The relationship between the father and the daughter, and the dad and his son as well. Now, I just felt like I was actually, when that twist happened, when he goes into the future and he sees Muri is actually the Colonel. I thought that was really good, and I felt like she was behaving like that because of how Chris Pratt was before he died. How she talks about how he had the car accident.
I just thought the way it's presented is very matter of factly. It wasn't like it wasn't like a big scene where it's revealed that she's the daughter. It's just that's the daughter. Yeah, it's just like
It's like, Colonel Foster. It's like,
how do you spell your
it's just very matter of factly. Like, it should have been the
the
biggest scene. That, oh my god, that's his daughter, and he's really talking to his daughter. Yeah.
So I was looking at more
casual,
from Chris Pratt's
casual.
perspective, like how he would be feeling, right? And then realizing that his daughter's disappointed in him, and then having to go back.
I still think the
end scene where the daughter dies.
It's not.
Yeah, dialogue was a bit. I got to say, they could have worked on the dialogue a bit more, but yeah. Look, I think the story, we'll talk about the story a little bit. I thought the story was good. Like you said, good concept. It felt like it dragged on a little bit too long, that last scene. They could have probably shortened that a little bit more, just to round up the movie. I like that little cameo about the volcanoes and Martin. I just wanted to add that in there. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought, look, solid 7 out of 10 for me. It was better than your average streaming movie. Probably not the best movie of all round, like, you know, if you saw it in the cinema, but better than your average streaming movie for me. So yeah, that's pretty much our review of The Tomorrow War. Thanks for watching, everyone. We do appreciate all of your support. Please leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of the movie. Let us know what you thought of our review. Please like the video, share it if you can. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as our first goal. We're almost there. So thank you for your support, and keep supporting us and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we shall see you in the next video. Peace.